Spencer Scott Holmes.
I'm Ryan Dunnigan, and today we have a special guest.
Hey, I'm Bethany.
Awesome. Well, Bethany here does a bunch of video projects and much more, so she can explain all that fun stuff to us, and we get to do a big old let's talk about making movies, videos, films, all that kind of fun jazz.
Sounds good.
Mm-hmm. You actually went to high school together. I think we may have been a grade or two ahead, but you actually ended up, you were in multimedia like us, and then from there you actually won an award shortly after I think we left or something, I think the next year or so.
I'm trying to remember what year you guys were there. Yeah, I won a few awards in high school. So I won for like best screenwriting, best directing, best documentary, and then outstanding achievement because I was super active in doing the film programs. I did the film festival my senior year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I was super hands-on in every part of it.
Is that where It's a Film Festival started?
It is where it started from, actually. So it was my senior year, I think, was our first year of ITSA because my parents were like, hey, let's do something more to get the kids' stuff out there beyond just the high school. Mm-hmm. So we started in the little park and then eventually moved to the Opera Hall.
Mm-hmm. And this you guys are doing like an Arcadia, aren't you?
So for this year?
Mm-hmm.
So for this year, we're doing, we actually are on hiatus this year, but we're doing a screening of a feature documentary / fiction. It's a hybrid of The Other Kids, which was filmed at Somerville or at our high school after I graduated. So we're going to be doing a showcase of that because we decided to put ITSA kind of on hold this year so everybody could take a breather because it's pretty much a year-round project.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, me and Ryan, we were like the experimental class of multimedia. Like when they had no idea what was going on. You know, someone was like, you know what? I don't know if it was Mr. Campbell or anybody was like, you know, we should have a multimedia program. We'll teach the kids all about the future and technology. And how this class originally started off was we were supposed to learn not only video, but we were going to learn, you know, audio recording, and we were going to use web design, and we were going to learn photography, and we were going to learn how to, you know, make like a presentation and all that stuff, and even a podcast where just Ryan shouts out, "Who the fuck wants to listen to that?"
And now look where you are.
Yeah, he was a pioneer of his time. If only I didn't say that. Actually, I'm not one of those kids who actually likes Mr. Campbell a lot. He's one of my favorite teachers, but I wasn't one of them, just keeping it really local for like the local listeners right now. But it was one of those things where I just leaned over to Spencer like, what the fuck's a podcast?
And who the fuck would want, which is pretty much about what any high schooler / middle schooler says. I remember when I worked as lifeguarding at the pool and I would tell kids, because they'd be like, dude, where's your next animation at? It's like, okay, dude, they take like months to come out. He's like, make it now. What are you doing working here? You know, and I'd be like, well, we have a podcast you can listen to every week. Who the fuck wants to listen to that?
Well, especially when you're like, you are your cast and crew for those. Like, it's you. But make them faster. Okay, well, I have to work and make money. I have to pay bills. Like,
yeah, like you know, you tell it to like an 8th grader and they just don't get it.
And it's always a kid with like a backwards cap. I always imagine a basketball jersey, like upper lip, like like that, not impressed by anything.
That's exactly
It'd be cooler if it was Minecraft.
Yeah, like, well, yeah, somebody just like hassling you or whatever. But no, when we're doing video, because this is the thing, is all that other stuff we were supposed to learn, like, literally fell off in about 3 months. Everybody's like, nope, we don't want to do anything else except for make movies. And you know, Mr. Campbell would be like, almost like, okay, we got a camera, who wants to go make movies? And then everybody would just like run out like a cartoon. The camera would be gone, the door would be like flapping behind it, and Mr. Campbell would be standing alone. There was probably like one kid still in there. It's like, I want to design a website.
Yeah, right.
Or, you know, some kid is like, oh, I'm going to sit here and record my music, you know, but everybody else was fucking out the door, camera, got fucking weapons in hand they brought from home.
Oh my God.
Toy weapons, we should say.
Yeah, toy weapons, but they still got stolen from us from the yard duties.
I remember we were trying, because I can only imagine, because when you got there had to be a lot more structure, I imagine, to it, or some rules, because we were probably the ones that messed that up for you. I apologize, because what happened was it was just like, okay, let's all go out unsupervised with plastic nunchucks and make a kung fu movie out in the baseball field, or like, and I just remember Mr. Campbell like, okay, guys, so we can't make movies all the time. The idea was to do like Photoshop, website design, graphic design, all this. He's like, no, movies. This is, but and then, like Spencer said, just almost kind of like just before he even had a chance to answer, like the door just out right up the door, just bing, 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 just swinging back and forth.
And there really was only 4 of us in charge. Actually, there was me, Ryan, a guy named Nate Bumgardner, and another guy named John Garcia. We were the only ones that had sort of order. Oh my gosh,
you had Nate and John in those classes?
Yeah, and we were the only ones that had order.
Oh, God.
Because here's the thing, without us, we were the ones all making the movies, and then everybody else in there, jumped on board one or the other or all of them. But it was, I was like, that was a little bit of control that there was that we had, a goal in mind where everybody else was just there almost either to dick off, to say something stupid on screen, or, I don't know. It's just how it was. It was very primal at that time period.
My first year, it was like switching between having more structure and like still not, because I remember my friends and I, we went out with a camera and there was like, we did a movie called like Super Spies, and it was the stupidest movie ever that had no plot, and it was just like us screwing around on campus, and like I got dragged across the asphalt. Yeah.
The good old days.
Yeah. And then it was, I think our second year is when it was like, oh, here's some structure. You guys have to get permission for this. You have to check these things out. And it was like, oh, well, okay. And we also switched rooms too. Mm-hmm. We used to be in the completely different room and then moved into a different building. And it's, yeah. So we had a lot more structure.
I remember going back there and visiting Cord and the guy who was in charge to it after Mr. Campbell. And I just remember looking around the place. I'm like, Jesus Christ, it's so advanced here now. It's like, before it's like we were just happy with our Sony Handycam. And I remember at one point we got a green screen, and that was like the biggest deal. It's like, oh God, we got a fucking green screen? What are we going to do with that? Oh, I don't know. Let's get Max to dance in front of it, and we'll just put funny music behind it. We have no idea what else to do with this green screen.
Space background.
At the beginning, it was kind of like, dude, like, because, it's a green screen. You don't entirely know how it works. You're first you're like, dude, we can make a Star Wars movie if you felt like it. Not taking into account all like the staticky effects silhouetted around each actor or anything like that.
And getting the lighting perfect is like nobody explained that part to us either.
Yeah, or just just children actors for that matter.
Yeah, we just took it out and placed it in front of the sun, and it's like, okay, here we go. Okay, and then we learned like, oh yeah, don't stand that close to the green screen or else you present your shadow and all that other crap.
Gosh, yeah, we got a different green screen, I think, partway through while I was there, and we still didn't really know how to use it all that well. Like, anytime anybody'd use it, it's like, here's the static around, and you'd see really bad visual effects, and yeah. Seeing the old room you guys used to have it in, I don't know how you guys got anything done, because, yeah.
Well, it's kind of like, going back to the crew we had, it was almost kind of like the guys Spencer listed off. It was kind of like me, Spencer, and Nate. It was kind of like we were all doing like Tarantino and anime ripoffs. While Garcia, I know. Well, Garcia, they're just doing jackass stuff. They're literally just doing like skateboard videos, which for that thing, that probably makes more sense,
Yeah, that makes sense.
They were definitely going for like the 2005 kid vibe right there. They were representing the youth.
Like they were auditioning for Fuse.
Oh God.
Where all of us were trying to recreate 70s movies.
Yeah.
It's a big. Have you guys seen some of the films coming out of there recently?
Nephew actually, he goes to the school, and he came at. It's weird because I remember him when he was 4 or 5, and now he comes because he's actually not my brother's kid. He's his ex's kid, but still tied with the family and all that. And he came up to me and he's like, Ryan, will you overlooked my scripts? I'm like, you write a script now? Before it was like, the robot attacks the man. Can you make that happen? I don't know. And now I look at it like, he did this whole post-apocalyptic movie with like, it's all like, I'm trying to make this for my senior project. I'm like, well, I'm all the way in San Francisco. I like this. Try and shoot this in the woods. Maybe go to the abandoned quarry down there for that shit. I don't know,
I was like, remember how hard it was to get him to act in Batman? He was like a pain in the ass to try to like get for this one scene where he didn't really have to do a whole lot, but for some reason that was like so hard for him to be in our Drunk Batman, and it was the Drunk Batman and Robin 2, the second live action movie that was never finished.
That was never finished.
For some reason. Oh boy.
For some reason.
But there's some great material of Ryan in the motorhome that just makes me laugh. It's in our trailer actually.
Oh my gosh, I want to see more of that footage.
It's just basically me crying into a beer in a Batman outfit. That's where
we need to see this, right?
That's ultimately the reason. Like, it was kind of that scene, which is ultimately the reason why we said, you know what, let's just do like animation, because right now, I mean, we still plan on making more Batman stuff, but right now, just like at the time I was like 25 or 26, and I was like, I'm wearing this suit. I'm like, eventually I'm going to be 30. Eventually this thing's going to be tighter. Eventually it's just going to be like the wrestler. And I don't want to be like, I used to be somebody. I was drunk Batman. Now it was just like, oh boy.
Well, I like the animation, so I'm glad we got the animated.
Well, also, too, is that second one, really the thing that kind of broke it down more is we couldn't get anybody else to, like, show up to shoot these videos with us. So it was to the point where it's like, the first Drunk Batman worked out well because, like, half the movie took place in a trailer, and then it's like, okay, if I'm in the scene, Ryan's shooting it. If Ryan's in the scene, he's shooting it. If we're both in the scene, it's on a tripod. It was like, that all worked out pretty well. But
that whole you make it yourself thing.
Yeah, but the second that you try to add other people into there, and they're like, oh, my schedule doesn't fit this, or oh, I gotta work, or oh, I said I was gonna be there, but then I didn't show up. You know, it was starting to get to the point where it's like, oh, it's just so horrible. And then it was, well, let's do animation, because guess what? Fuck everybody else. We don't need them. You know what? If we need another actor in there, we'll animate it, do the voice ourselves. Ow!
It works out well.
I remember you making that exact noise in the meeting, too.
I was just like, yep, no. I'll do it ourselves.
Whatever works. Like,
has there been any video projects you've been working on lately at all, or?
Well, so I do a lot of video editing right now. I'm in between those projects at the moment, but I'm also technically the film commissioner for the county.
Oh, awesome.
So I work with studios and location scouts right now, getting them to come film here, and I have like 10 of those projects that I'm working on. So I was out location scouting over the weekend for a big film. So that's what I've been working on, but I do have a couple of music videos that I might be editing soon, which is awesome. So I do everything in film, apparently. Help people find places to film. I do editing. I just edited a music video. Well, I guess not just, it was like last year. I edited one, and it was a music video for an artist in LA.
Nice.
Yeah, is it I think I met her.
Felice Jose.
Yeah, that's right. Because she came to ITSA twice with a different video. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's really talented. She was really good too.
Yeah, she's super good. Her that was the video for her single off her EP, and basically it was like they had gotten the video and they couldn't get the edits to come together right, and so it had been through like a series of editors, and I just happened to be in LA for the week. And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll sit down and do it. And so we cranked out a music video, and I might do a couple more here soon with her and some of her friends or some of the people she's introduced me to.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, making music videos, that's one of my favorite projects in kind of making video, because it's this, to me, I consider it's like the most simplest and purest form, but I don't mean that's like a bad thing. I like
I know what you mean.
You can literally edit anything together in a music video. They don't have to necessarily match to be the right choice. That's what makes a music video just kind of fun, is it's very experimental. You can line cool things up together and mix and match, and as long as you just kind of like stick to some type of beat, you're about good to go.
Yeah, I love music video editing is actually what I'm shooting to do right now and start getting more jobs in, because it's like you can do full like stories. Like Cage the Elephant always has like some trippy story that's like super heartfelt, or you have things like couple of artists have music videos that's just cool effects the entire time, and then there's animations, and it's like, oh, this is so rad, you can do anything.
Yeah, there's no rules to music videos.
I need to check out Cage the Elephant's videos, because they're one of my favorite modern bands, and I've realized, I didn't realize they did a cover of Whole Wide World by Reckless Eric, and I was like, oh my god, this is such a good cover of this song. And I saw the live video, and that was really good. I just kind of liked their whole stage performance, what they had going on for that. But I actually need to check. So their videos are usually, because I noticed a lot of bands, even bands I like, a lot of times just kind of like Audioslave. All their videos are either them playing in like an abandoned warehouse somewhere, or it was like something that was interesting, like the video for because it doesn't remind me of anything. That has a story that unfolds. It's really good. Or there's the Vanishing Point video, which is Show Me How to Live.
I know that one.
Yeah, so they were like a 50-50. It was like, okay, they're gonna be playing somewhere where no one else is there, or really cool, interesting video. So Cage the Elephant, like what are some other ones you said?
I'm trying to think. well, Cage the Elephant, Shake Me Down specifically is one of my favorite music videos of all time. My Chemical Romance is my favorite band, and I really love all of their videos, especially Danger Days, which is this like post-apocalyptic concept.
I love that album because that's one of those things where, I'm not gonna lie, Spencer and I have said this multiple times on the show, like when we were younger, we were like, My Chemical Romance is emo, and as a hive mind, we can't accept emo. And now it's like,
well, it was like,
they're kind of good. Now you actually look back on them, and even though everyone loves Black Parade, I think my favorite is Danger Days.
Danger Days is phenomenal, and the music video for Na Na Na, it's the whole post-apocalyptic theme, and who is it that's in it? Oh, I can't remember who's in it. Is it Grant Morrison?
I think I overheard that he was in that. I didn't see it. But I think I heard he said that in an interview.
And it's just these bright colors, and it's so cool. And they have the album itself, obviously, is that concept with the radio waves, and so the music video is that. I listen to a lot of Asian music right now, and there's some cool music videos in the Korean industry, which is funny to say, like, oh, K-pop has cool music videos, but they crank them out in like 2 weeks.
Well, I like a lot of K-pop and J-pop stuff. I listen to like there's tons of bands I have on like my Spotify list that's all that stuff.
Yeah, and they have some really cool music videos coming out of there. Like they're big on concept videos there and concept albums in general. So everything they produce is just high quality and phenomenal.
Huh.
Any recommendations for K-pop people? Because I don't really know any of that, but be down to check it out.
The main one that comes to mind is G-Dragon.
G-Dragon?
Yeah, G-Dragon. He just did his North American tour, actually. I'm staring at my EXO poster. EXO has a few really cool ones. Their latest one is like an acid trip, so maybe not that one. But G-Dragon would be the big one because he's a big artist, too. He's a huge musician, so he's hands-on in all his videos. And Coup d'etat is my favorite of his specifically.
I think he was a big Chinese pop star, but I know that this is a little off topic, sort of in the same ballpark. To help advertise Star Wars, I think it was in China, they actually put out like this very big like Chinese pop song with, I guess, their equivalent to the Chinese Justin Bieber.
Luhan.
And he's basically walking through the desert like in a Jedi robe, like, all right, this, because I guess it's not as big in China as Star Wars isn't big in China. It's like, we got to advertise this thing to him. So get that kid, he'll do a video, and I think it was for Force Awakens or something. So
it was,
as the credits roll, I can only imagine just as Rey solemnly hands the saber over to Luke. Just silence. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Also, this Chinese pop song starts to play. Yeah.
It's called, that's Luhan. I know who you're talking about. He's the song's The Inner Force. That video is ridiculous because it's like Korea did a pop song for it too, and it's not nearly as like hyped over there. And then China was like, we're gonna get Luhan to sing this, and it's basically they made a Star Wars film in a music video format. Like that is what it is, and you have like Luhan, this Chinese guy. He is basically the Chinese Justin Bieber, except for I really like Luhan, but yeah, he's the Chinese Justin Bieber, and so he's wearing all of these robes and looking badass, and you're like, okay, Luhan, that his name means deer-like, so it's like,
okay,
yeah, no, I know who you're talking about. That's Luhan, though.
I don't know, because I remember hearing, because there was a couple like phrases in there. It was mostly Chinese. There was a couple of phrases in there, just like party all night. I'm like, Jedis don't party, dude. But okay, maybe Han Solo does.
Yeah, but he's not a Jedi.
No, I know, but I'm just saying.
But if Han Solo had the power of a Jedi mixed with Han Solo, he'd be unstoppable.
That'd be terrifying.
He just poured drinks for himself from the other side of the room. That's all he'd do.
Might work, yeah.
He would just like. He'd probably make people move out of his way all the time. He'd be like, nope.
Move all.
That's a concept.
You know what's always a funny thing though with bands is a lot of them I feel like don't understand the appreciation of the music video as much. Because I notice there's so many guys out there, they focus on the music, but they forget about like the video part. Like they're like, oh, I can't wait to play his next concert or anything like this, but they forget like, you know what's more important than any concert is making a video. Because here's the thing.
Yeah.
A concert's, 30, 50 people might see you. A music video, though, will sit there, and, as long as you keep sharing it, then you're going to get a lot of people that are going to see you, but not, like, in just, like, a 10-mile radius.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like you look on YouTube, what is it? The See You Again is the #1 viewed video on YouTube, and it's a music video. And it used to be Psy with his, and it's like that's how they get exposure, and that's how people get these bands. Also, concerts are super expensive anymore.
Well, yeah, it just depends like what kind of bands there is. There's certain areas where you go and it's like, what I like is in Sacramento, they got that place called Ace of Spades. And it's like the guaranteed, like, you don't pay really more than about $25, give or take. Like $30, I think was like the most I ever paid for a ticket. But you kind of forget after a while if you keep going to like shows like at that kind of level. And then you go to another one, like I went and saw Avenged Sevenfold not that long ago, and it's like, oh, they're like up there. It was like $80 per ticket or something like that.
Yeah.
For just regular tickets, nothing fancy or anything like that. And then you look at other things too. Like I looked at Green Day, like they just came up on like a flyer for Ticketmaster, and I'm like, I just want to see how much their prices are.
Yeah.
It's like a Green Day ticket, like they're just to get in the door was $120. I'm like, Jesus Christ, Rolling Stones. Like, God.
Yeah, like
I mean, like here's the thing, it's like I like Green Day, but I'm like, I did not realize they were that far up there and like that like pinnacle level of like we could charge whatever the fuck we want. Why would Green Day?
That's how all of them are. And sometimes like so at the Warfield, my first year of high school, I went to the Warfield and it was $25 for a ticket on the floor. Mm-hmm. I went to look at a ticket this year for the Warfield for a band that wasn't as big, and it was like $200 for the floor area.
Gosh, really? At the Warfield?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's a place I remember going to, and it was like $25-$30. Yeah. You could just be like front row dead center if you wanted to.
We saw... I'll cut you off. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
We saw back in high school. We saw Motley Crue and Aerosmith, not on the floor, but out in the grass, and that was only like, I want to say it was maybe Spencer, correct me here. I think it was maybe $20.
It was $4 for $100 is what those tickets were.
Okay, all right.
So,
yeah.
They were like pretty reasonable, which I did see at that Ozfest one that they have coming up in San Bernardino with Knotfest. You could get tickets that were like I think the $4 for $100 for those. Now, of course, you're in lawn seats. You don't have regular seats, but at least that's a reasonable price. At least you can see Prophets of Rage headline.
I remember. Are they playing Ozfest this year?
Yeah, they're the headliner.
Oh, wow. I'm going to have to... Okay.
That's almost reason enough for me to go, but there's a bunch of other bands on there that are pretty cool, too.
I've seen Chris... I was lucky enough to see Chris Cornell and Eddie Vedder play at Bridge Benefits. Nice. So it's one of those things where it's like... It's kind of like... I mean, Tom Morello, he's a young guy... Well, he's youngish, but he's like... He's in good shape. I'm not worried about him going anytime soon, but Chris Cornell threw me a curveball. So when Iggy Pop rolled by in town... and he was playing at the Sonic, and it was $80 for the nosebleed seats. That's where I was kind of like, I might not get another chance. But then it was like, all right, I'm going to do it. Fuck it, I'm doing it. But then I'm like, I work the next day. Fuck. Okay. Hopefully he survived so many ODs. I'm sure he could probably survive another year. I'll see him eventually. He may outlive all of us.
You never know.
But yeah, Prophets of Rage. I'm surprised Prophets of Rage is headlining Ozfest. Like if they're like one of the big ones, but the fact they're headlining it, that surprised me since they're a hip hop metal fusion. So
also too, they got them, and then there's Ozzy, but Ozzy mostly always plays early nowadays. So I'm assuming Prophets of Rage will definitely be the last band, and Ozzy will probably play.
Get to bed.
He plays at like 4:00 at like a reasonable hour.
I still need to get me the Denny's Grand Slam before I go to bed.
I can't believe you beat me to that joke.
Sorry, did I? I'm sorry.
I was on my way there.
I'm sorry.
God. Dang it.
But no, there's actually a lot. The only thing that's kind of weird though is it's the Ozfest and the Knotfest being the Slipknot section, but there's no Slipknot.
That is weird.
It's like no Ozzy showing up to Ozfest. Not saying that would be, as long as he's, I guess, like their namesake, that still works. But yeah, it's just kind of like no Slipknot. Why? You got Marilyn Manson and Rob Zombie, so it's like that's cool. But are you kidding me? They have Stone Sour. It's like that's like the half-ass version of Slipknot.
Stone Sour. It's kind of like
they got
you come in, but
songs, but yeah, not like anything like. If they were there, I'd be like, cool, you see them, that's neat, but I would never go out of my way to see them. I almost went out of my way because they had Baby Metal opening up for them, but I didn't want to see Korn, and I didn't want to see... I mean, Stone Sour, it's not that it's bad, but I don't want to pay $50 just to see them and see Baby Metal only for like 25 minutes, probably.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be cool to see Corey, like hear him sing live, but yeah, I wouldn't go out of my way either. My friends love them.
That's different, but...
I don't know, you have to be picky with concerts anymore. Like Ryan said, it's like, do I go for these $80 nosebleeds or what do I do? And it's because that's why music videos are so important, though, because that's how people can get exposed, especially with concert tickets being so expensive. It's like, well, I can watch this at least and see them.
The older I get, I find myself looking more forward to the opening act than I do the headliner, unless it's something like Iggy Pop or Soundgarden or something like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, not Soundgarden anymore. I'm not trying to bring us down. But, yeah.
Thanks, Ryan.
I'm sorry. I just keep killing the mood. Just like, remember this guy who died? Yeah.
So many people. Oh.
Well, it's like, yeah, they got like Guns N' Roses coming up, and that's one of those ones where I feel it's like, that's a ticking time bomb of like, how long will that last? So I just kind of feel like, it's like, you can get tickets for like, $100, but I'm like, that is Guns N' Roses. It's not just like it's any band,
Yeah.
Well, it is the real Guns N' Roses, right? Not Axl and Roses. It's like, okay, it's Axl and then a bunch of other people he brought in.
It's Axl, Slash, and Duff. I'm not too sure who the hell else is in it. Like, I don't think they invited Gilby Clarke back. Obviously they invite probably Izzy. They might have Matt Sorum, but I'm not too sure on drums.
I just assume if it's all the original guys, I don't even imagine they're even playing on stage. I remember just like the set of Hollywood Square, like they're all separate from each other in their own box.
Well, you can't really they can't see each other from each of the angle.
Yeah,
not talking to each other.
Oh my. One of those Van Halen ones where like they go off on different sides of the stage.
Yeah. They just had the Outside Lands playing over here, and every year it's like there's like 3 or 4 bands. I'm like, oh my god, Cage the Elephant, or like The Who or Metallica, and like, well, I like Metallica. I'm not a huge Metallica fan, and but I wouldn't mind seeing them. But then it's like the Gorillaz, yeah.
I know. I wanted to go for that.
I could hear them closing out with like, well, I could hear it from my apartment because I'm right down from the park. But I'm like, is that the Gorillaz? I'm like. Like, oh yeah, it's Gorillaz. Okay.
So the only downfall like something like Outside Lands is like it's cool, but like I don't know, like big festivals, I'm always kind of like, okay, yeah, there's those 5 bands I really want to see, and then there's the rest of the bands that I could probably care less about.
Yeah, but I feel like the bang for your buck is almost better because you can get like a festival ticket for like $200 for like 2 days in certain places. And see 5 bands where it's like, oh, I want to see this band by themselves, and it's $200. So
that's
it's like, yeah.
There's that with big bands. I definitely agree there, but I think this is where I've kind of come to is like I like singular concerts for the fact that I like to see a band play for a while. Where a lot of times you go to a festival and you go, oh, it's the band I really want to see, and then they get like a half an hour set, and you're like,
that's true.
Well, that was cool. 5 songs, don't get me wrong, is still cool, but and it's like. Nothing's better than when you can get a band when they play for like 2.5 hours and they're like the only band. Maybe they have an opening act, maybe they don't. They just like fill up that time frame. I like that the most.
I do too. I do like that. I've been fortunate the last 3 concerts I went to were all like that. No, 2 concerts. There was an opener for the other one, but where it's just them playing or singing for 2-3 hours all the way through.
I know. I remember like it's like for the longest time there was like a lot of metal bands and it's like they never played for more than an hour and a half. So I just kind of came to this conclusion like, is it something that like none of these metal bands can play for that long? Do they just get burnt out and tired too quickly? And then I saw Cradle of Filth play for over 2 hours, and I was like, well, if Cradle of Filth can play for over 2 hours, what the hell is everybody else's excuse?
Being lazy.
Yeah, that's all I thought. I was like, Cradle of Filth blew me away to how long they played for because that's like way more intense than even a lot of these other guys. And he's screaming the whole time for 2.5 hours straight, no problem whatsoever. And he's teeny tiny up on stage, bouncing around. It's like, yeah, there we go, more of this, less of everything else.
It is one of those things you first see when you see a picture of Danny Filth. You just assume he's just like this, behemoth, because he's just always this looming guy with his black hair, looking like the guy out of Metalocalypse. And then you tell me, you're like, dude, he's tiny. He's fucking so tiny. He text me.
And then I like because he would get up and he'd like bounce on his calves, so that didn't really help. It made him look more like a leprechaun, like getting ready for like an
over
attack.
The crowd, like, how you all doing out there, a-hole?
I don't know if he was either just kind of like pumping himself up or stretching out or what, but yeah, he was doing that, and it was kind of funny. But no, it's just like that. How long they played was awesome because like when I just saw Avenged Sevenfold, it was a cool concert, but they only played for like an hour and 40 minutes. And it's like, dude, this is your guys' like headline, the stage tour. Like I kind of, like 1 or 2 more songs would have been kind of nice.
Yeah.
You can minus out a day to remember. It's not that they're bad, but that just felt like that took up a couple songs that I could have seen for Avenged Sevenfold.
Well, regarding because you said you're doing some editing for some videos coming up pretty soon. Is it like some bands you've worked with before, or are they kind of like? Can you say who the bands are?
I can't actually. So some of the stuff, it's still on the horizon. Nothing's been confirmed yet. It's just in touch with people, and a few people who've reached out. But I haven't worked with any of these people before, so it'll be interesting if it happens. Like, you guys will hear about it, I'm sure, because I'm excited. But yeah, right now I can't say who they are because it hasn't been confirmed or set in stone. I don't want to jinx it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, that's still cool that it's all moving along like that, though. And then I actually didn't know you're part of the film commission in Tuolumne County, so that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I am the film commission in Tuolumne County right now.
Well, that's good, because that last person like fucked it up. Like, they literally seriously fucked that place for a while. Like, that's why there wasn't any movies since like 1994 in Tuolumne County.
Yeah, it's like I'm trying to like rebuild it from the ground up. So like we have a new logo that I designed and everything. I've gone to conferences in LA, or I've gone to one, hoping to do others. I've been reaching out to location people and being like, hey, guess what? We're here. Guess what? You can film movies here. We have hotels and places for people to stay. Like, but that's, yeah, it was.
Because it got blacklisted for a long time because somebody just tried to jack the prices on Tuolumne County, thinking they were just going to make a buck off of people in LA. And then they're like, you know what? You know what else looks like Tuolumne County? Canada. Fuck you guys.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Well, it's great because there's a movie coming out in a couple years that they're going to film like the entirety of in California. Mm-hmm. And so they're starting to like bring stuff back to California, and it's this huge thing. So all of the film commissions in the state are kind of working together to be like, hey, you're looking for this location, go there. So I've had people sent my way. I've sent people to other places, and we're getting a lot more steam now because we actually have like an online presence too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So, because like the last movie that was filmed here, like big, that it starred Dave Patel and Zoe Kravitz, was The Road Within. And
what year was that one?
2013.
Oh, okay. Because I don't remember that. Because I remember the last big movie was Bad Girls.
Yeah.
Was there Dave Patel, Zoe Kravitz? I'm going to look that one up. Was there one? I don't remember what it's called, but it's about Reese Witherspoon being like a heroin addict, and she just goes. Yeah, and at some point she hikes through Kennedy Meadows. Was that? Am I thinking the right thing? That actually happened, or?
I don't know if that was actually filmed here or not. Mm-hmm. It would make sense because the movie's about her being on the Pacific Crest Trail, which goes right through our county. But I haven't seen anybody mention that it was. So I don't know if it was another like, oh, we're going to use like Washington and Canada to look like Kennedy or something. Because that happens all the time.
I could almost see them just trying to do that thing where like, okay, it's all California. They get to Tuolumne County state line, moving around that. We're just film that part in Washington, moving back down the line.
That happens. Like, they'll jump over to the other side of the Sierra Nevadas too and be like, yeah, we're going to film over there. It's like, we're right here. Like, you can film here. It's okay.
The person who jacked up the pricing before, I can't imagine it. The only thing I can imagine is like some Southern plantation owner who just saw Unforgiven and Back to the Future. He's like, oh, well, it looks like we got ourselves some good old money-making skills here, and then just fucks it up for everybody like that.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what happened. It was kind of sad.
Like somebody who doesn't realize, like, oh, like, I got the feeling just from hearing that shit from Spencer, like they didn't even know what the earn it is. Like they're like, there's variety, right?
Yeah, right.
Well, it might have been pre-internet too at that point too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's like newspaper records of all the stuff that happened and whatnot, and like I've been reading through some of it, and I'm trying to make sure people don't like focus on that. And the nice thing in Hollywood is there's a lot of young blood right now, so nobody remembers that.
That's good.
So
that's good.
It's a kind of a nice start over. They're really excited to have us back and doing stuff with them again. And all of the new location scouts are like, oh, this is cool. You guys have like lakes and mountains and stuff. We need this type of thing. And I'm like, great, starting fresh. This is the most important thing. Because, yeah, working past what Spencer was talking about, that I was worried about that, but I haven't. Only the people in the county seem to remember that.
Yeah, well, it's one of those ones. And even people in the county, I don't think even know that too much anymore, unless you kind of knew the film kind of way it was. It's like I just knew that from just talking to like the certain actors around town that were kind of involved in it. And it's like, oh, okay, so that's why we haven't had a movie here in such a long time.
Yeah.
We just made Freddy Krueger it by putting it back in people's memories. It gets its power back. Sorry if that caused any trouble for you later in life, Bethany.
It's all good. I mean,
we were considering after we heard that podcast.
Yeah, hopefully no location scouts that I'm working with or studios will be like, oh, you know, on Old Man Orange, film commissioner said this.
Nah, it's like by this point, it's like I feel when things get to a certain age, it's like, yeah, it's past that. You know, it's it only affected probably a certain section of people working there that were just like, you know what, there's a couple counties in California that think they're better than us, so. I mean, I think that was kind of similar to what happened in San Francisco for a while, because there was a period where like they just stopped shooting movies in San Francisco. Yeah. And even like, maybe they get like one shot, like, okay, here's the bridge and let's get away from San Francisco.
Yeah, they use it for like second unit stuff all the time.
Yeah.
That was definitely Ant-Man. I think Paul Rudd, that was probably a stunt, that not even double. That was probably a double. It was like, there's a part where, okay, you see him walking down what looks like the Tenderloin. Maybe it was the Tenderloin. Maybe. But then there's like other stuff where just like, okay, that's got to be a set. And okay, that's second unit stuff with the bridge going across,
Yeah.
Maybe even stock footage.
Oh gosh, yeah, stock footage all the time. Was it like Supernatural? Their second unit uses stock footage all the time, and they'll go out and like, there's an episode in San Francisco, and the only way you ever know is because it's the Golden Gate Bridge. Otherwise, everything's in Vancouver.
Well, yeah, I guess you just shoot in your sets, and then you get a couple outside shots, and it pieces it all together.
Yep.
Don't judge, but there is I have the entire series of Smallville. And being, a Superman show, later seasons, eventually something happens like, oh my God, they're setting up nukes. And then they have like teenage Clark Kent, like jump in the sky, bad green screen, smashes into nukes, stop it from happening or whatever. And they showed that 2 or 3 times, and it was always the same clip. And it was the clip from Terminator 3, where they were Doomsday happens, or Judgment Day happens. You see the nukes just flying off out of like cornfields and all that kind of stuff. And then they had like, or it was a secret base somewhere, and they had to stop it. And then they also used some from Batman Begins. Like they'd always use, whenever they cut back to Metropolis, sometimes they cut to a shot of the Narrows from Batman Begins. I'm like, it's Metropolis, not the fucking ghetto. What is this?
I love when you see shots reused, like Michael Bay reuses shots all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I can believe that. Do you have any examples? I haven't really caught any, but I'm sure he does. I can see that.
He used, he used a shot from the island in, I want to say it's in one of the Transformers movies.
Mm-hmm.
And people have they've already shown it side by side and whatnot. And I haven't seen all of the Transformers movies, so I don't remember which one it is.
I don't even think he remembers which one is which anymore.
Yeah, but it probably. Basically, there's like Shia LaBeouf and Mark Wahlberg. That's how he remembers things.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the island, there's car chase, and it's like this car's coming around the block, and then it's used in one of the Transformers movies or something like that. Everybody's like, okay, you just basically got rid of the Scarlett Johansson and is it Scarlett Johansson that's in that movie?
I think it's Scarlett Johansson.
I think it's Ewan McGregor. And is that?
Yeah. Obi-Wan Kenobi and Black Widow.
Yeah.
Yep. That's one of my. I love that movie actually.
It actually is kind of a cool movie. It was like one of those like random ones that I got, and I was just like, oh, that's kind of cool. I mean, I think the movie starts off much better than it ends, but
yeah. Well, it's kind of a version of Logan's Run and kind of like those old sci-fi movies, which is rad.
It just seems like I can see that, like, it is a good movie, but I can almost see it being kind of like Michael Bay coming in like, all right, let's bay this thing up, where the original script was probably something a little bit more of like, let's make an homage to that. And he didn't really see that entirely. He just says, okay, can we throw in a car chase? Yeah, we can throw in a fucking car chase.
Yeah, and then we're going to reuse that car chase in other movies. It might have been one of the Batman movies he reused it in. Because I think it was, I know he didn't do the Batman movies, but I feel like Studio Connections does that all the time.
Well, there's always like, what I always think of is the beginning of The Shining, when it shows them like driving. That scene right there was just excess footage from Blade Runner. Which sounds so weird. It's like The Shining and Blade Runner. It's like, you can use that footage together, but no, it's just like the very end of the original cut of Blade Runner when like they're driving out like in the woods or whatever. You know, like Harrison Ford driving out there in the woods in the future, and then instead it's just like, oh, guess what? We have all this like helicopter footage. Let's just use that. Or maybe it's vice versa. Wait a second.
Well, there's also a Blade Runner one.
I think it was Blade Runner took some of that footage from The Shining. Gosh, I can't remember now. Now I'm getting confused. I'm thinking about it.
I think there's that, but then there's also Blade Runner took from Legend, because there's a part where he thinks of Sean. What's her name? Sean, the actress. What's her? Well, he thinks he thinks that the robot and a unicorn goes running by or something like that.
Yeah, I know what part you're talking about.
Sean Day or Sean Daly, something like that.
Yeah, something
like that.
But yeah.
You get put on the spot and you forget everything.
Yeah, sorry. I got like horrible memory when it comes down to stuff. It's like I would never be good for like a quiz show. I'd like lose for everything.
Yeah, there is that thing. Sorry, I'm not trying to throw anyone on the spot, but I do realize like favorite Michael Bay movie. Go. What's the go now? 2 seconds. Go.
Even though I said
you're definitely
that,
not putting us on the spot, but mostly just like, wait, what? I'm trying. Like you'll be in the middle of saying something like. But Spencer was sitting there trying to say something like this and this and this, and then you doubt yourself and you're like, wait, I got this wrong.
Yeah, then you go, wait a second. Then the years start to come up and everything like that. Well, Bethany, since you like movies so much, what would you consider your favorite movie?
Dark City.
Oh, really? Dark City? That is a cool movie. I haven't seen that in a while, but that is a neat movie.
Yeah, so it's, for those who don't know, it's Dark City is directed by Alex Proyas. It's from the 90s. Has Rufus Sewell, Jennifer Connelly, and then Kiefer Sutherland. And it's just a really rad, like psychological kind of sci-fi film going on, which I have a big preference for psychological films. So like I'm all for the first Saw movie because it's so aggressively psychological.
And it's got Danny Glover.
I love that type of stuff. Yeah, it does.
I remember I was so excited when Danny Glover was in it. I was like, what? Danny Glover's in this movie? This is awesome.
He ain't too old for this shit.
Clearly not.
Yeah.
Dark City, I haven't seen that in years, but is that the one where it's they find out they're like on a spaceship or something like that at the end, and they're kind of or in a quarantine city they didn't realize it was something to that effect?
It's something you could say quarantine city. Yeah, it's basically it's kind of you could put it in the same category almost as The Matrix, where it's like your lives are not your own.
I remember Matrix. I heard Matrix pulled a lot from Dark City.
Well, because there's only a couple years, but it's like 97 or 96. I can't remember.
Yeah, it's somewhere around there. I think it might be 97 or 98, actually. It's somewhere in the late 90s. And yeah, it's you could put it in that same category of like quarantine city, your life's not quite your own. It's also in the same sense as Blade Runner, where there's like a director's cut that cuts out a complete monologue at the beginning. Where it's like, the studio was like, no, we're adding in this monologue. And the director's like, yeah, but it's not supposed to have it. But yeah, and it's like, I don't even know what you'd call alien, I guess is a good word for the people in that. But,
yeah.
Now I want to ask you this really quickly, since you said like the cutout stuff. Now I like to ask people this on Blade Runner. Do you prefer the director's cut of Blade Runner, or do you like the original version that has the narration still in it?
I've never seen the theatrical version with the narration. I've only seen the director's cut, really. So the only reason I've seen the non-director's cut of Dark City is because that's what we had. But the first time I watched it, which was in high school, my parents actually muted it. So I couldn't hear it. And I only heard it on accident because I forgot we owned it that way. But Blade Runner, I only have the director's cut. So I don't even know what the narration says.
I personally actually like the original version of Blade Runner more because like I like narration, because I know some people don't like narration, some people do. I think I like it because it reminds me of, one, film noir movies, and then two, like comic books are like that a lot. So the narration to me never feels out of place. And in Blade Runner, I kind of like it because that movie to me felt like it was supposed to be like a sci-fi noir one, so I feel like it fits in there. Now I'll say this, I like both versions pretty much just as well, but I think that original version, I just kind of like all those little things in there.
Yeah, Dark City, the only issue I have with the narration is I feel like it gives too much away about how everything is uncovered, but it's still, because Dark City is also kind of a sci-fi noir as well, so it's like it still works with it, and it's not like I dislike it actively, or I'm like, oh, you can't watch it with a narration. But yeah, narration with noir. Both of those movies are noir homages and stuff, so it works really well for both of those regardless.
Mm-hmm. Well, I could see that with Dark City. You could see like a producer sitting there and going like, fuck, Mom and Pop in Oklahoma are totally not going to get this movie. You know for a fact, I can see exactly where they thought that, like, okay, we got to throw narration in there. It's like showing somebody the Digimon movie. You got to throw that intro narration in there, or else someone's going to be confused.
We rewatched because for 5 seconds we were gonna actually do like kind of like a joking audio commentary for the Digimon movie because we do that sometimes.
And we watched the whole movie again.
Well, no, it's like for a minute we were like, let's do that. And we rewatched the movie and we were just felt defeated, just like it was almost kind of like in 2001: The Space Odyssey when the guy's going through the wormhole and he can't comprehend everything coming at his face. That's kind of like what it was like for us. So, and this is like, tone back the narration just a little bit. Let's just slow it down. We have to have a quiet moment because it just sounds like kids on like caffeine, just like freaking out the whole time. But the narration of Blade Runner, I kind of see what you're saying there. But isn't it crazy that like we live in a world where like that movie came out and the people are like, this movie's fucking shit. Really? Yeah, fucking sucks.
Yeah.
This is your dream project. What the fuck were they thinking? Now it's like how many years later? Like, you know
we
what?
have a new one coming out.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And people are actually excited about it. It's kind of weird. And it's not, I think it's just there's certain generations. Like I can't remember if I said this on the podcast or not, but there was actually an article in Muscle and Fitness, and they were doing, the thing where they count down the top 10 Arnold Schwarzenegger movies, like they've done for the last 40 years. But in this one, Last Action Hero was number 3 on their list. And I was like,
really?
Oh my gosh, the times have finally came back around. Because it seems like everybody who was like a kid watching Last Action Hero loves that movie. It was just there was a certain older generation that just kind of disliked it when it came out. And I feel like that's sometimes where some of that hatred comes from. And that's probably like how Blade Runner was. There probably was a certain older generation that watched it at first and said, fucking stupid.
Well, it's
saw
like
Star Wars, what more do I need?
Fifth Element's the same way.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
that one kind of did still pretty decent when it came out. I remember that still being a big deal. And
it did well when it came out in like VHS and in Blockbuster kind of thing where people could start buying and renting it and stuff.
Maybe that's how it was. Because I just remember as a kid, that movie was like that one where like everyone's like, dude, you got to see Fifth Element.
Yeah, and it's like, when Valerian came out, because it's the same director, because Valerian is actually what Fifth Element was inspired by. Like, people were like, we think Valerian's going to do the exact same thing Fifth Element did, where it's not going to be received super well, but you're going to have this group of people who liked it, and then a few years later, people are going to come back to it and be like, oh, we actually kind of like this. This is cool, but it's weird. Yeah.
I think it's a French thing. I think people go up there and go, I fucking hate France. They just sit there, arms crossed. It's like a subconscious thing, but there's like this thing built into a lot of Americans that like when they see something French, they cross their arms and they get all pissy. I see it all the time. You'll just see like something French will come up and there'll be somebody in the room who just gets an attitude about it. And I don't know where it stems from.
Beret toss. Like, it's something roots back to those Freedom Fry days.
Yeah, it really does. There's just something there.
Oh, freedom fries.
America, France ain't helping America go like fight some brown people. So you know what? It no longer the French fries. It's the freedom fries. God damn it! And then all of America went, fuck yeah, fuck Valerian. That stigma hasn't left.
It's just a natural thing. It's weird. It's one of those ones like I think America just kind of forgets that French kind of came and helped out them. When their 1776 revolution. But clearly past that point, it was just like, they're like the kind of buddy that you invite over just to make fun of. You still kind of call him a friend, but at the same time, like, he's only really there because he just kind of likes hanging out. You got cool video games or something, And
they kind of help create a democracy. We kind of overlook that.
Yeah, and they kind of give us, and they give gifts and everything like that, but we just kind of shit on them for some reason.
Yeah, it's like they give us gifts, we put them on display. People forget that they were given to us by them. Like,
it's like, here you go, you're a real country now. Yeah, fuck you, friendship mine. Like, oh, okay, you're welcome.
See, because I'm one of those people that really like Valerian a lot. I thought that was a really sweet movie.
I haven't seen it yet, but I want to. And like I said, I haven't been able to make it to the movies, and I was going to see that opening weekend, and then I think that was right in the middle of when I was sick, because I was sick for like a month.
That's horrible.
And wasn't able to go see it, but I really want to see it. It looks super. I like Luke's work. Like, I really like all of his movies.
That's what I mean. It's like he's never made a bad movie.
I actually like The Family. A lot of people didn't like that. I liked The Family.
Who doesn't like The Family?
Well, Marley, but you know.
Oh, that's not a lot of people. Marley's hard to please.
Bethany knows what we're talking about.
I was like, oh gosh, poor Marley.
Love Marley. I love that guy, but he was kind of like back when me and him both lived in Sonora. He was kind of like the third guy in the show for a while, so it almost became us just kind of like bullying Marley into our opinion. Like he'd come in like, oh, you didn't like the family. You know?
Oh gosh.
Marley, if you're listening, I love you. You know that.
I was about to say hi, Marley. You still have my Game Grumps poster. Yeah. I was going to say, Marley's in near you, Spence, right?
No, he's in Sacramento, isn't he?
Where are you at?
I'm in Yosemite.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Twain Hard. I don't know why I'm telling you this. Sorry. I get that thing when I feel like I'm talking to somebody who's really far away, so I always just tell them Yosemite.
Yeah.
It's
no,
the
that's right. You're the
one
who still lives near me. Okay.
Yeah. But it's funny because, like, I remember I was using that Yosemite, and I would just tell people that before. It's like, oh, where were you? I'm at Yosemite. They know what Yosemite is. Well, not in the South, though. I'd tell that to people in the South, and they would look at me like, Yosemite?
Mm-hmm.
Yosemite Sam? No, Yosemite. You know, the
Yosemite.
first ever national park. Which
It's a fucked up looking rock.
You have to say Yosemite. And then
maybe that's it. That almost sounds like
Oh.
that's how you explain to a Canadian.
Let's talk about the Yosemite. Okay.
Yeah, as soon as like, because people. So one of the things with Film Commission is I work for like some of the visitor center stuff and work with some of the visitors, and so like they'll come in and they'll be like, oh, Yosemite, and I'm like, Yosemite. They're like, oh, is that how you say it? And I'm like, I forget not everybody like lives near here and hears it all the time. It's just like when people ask, how do you say the name of the county?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, it's Tuolumne. Why can't? Oh, duh, because this isn't normal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was a video I did for somebody, and it had it where Tuolumne popped up. I'm like, no, say Tuolumne. If you do not say Tuolumne, you got to remember that not everybody's right next to you. You put that in the narration.
Yep.
There's a really random Pearl Jam song just called Tuolumne, and it's just an easy,
It's
simple
not even a Pearl
little.
Jam song. It's an Eddie Vedder only song.
It is? Okay, well, it's just a very simple, just like, even the rest of Pearl Jam's like, no, fuck that, no. But it's just a very simple, just like guitar, just like, it sounds very nice. Then you just expect it to be followed up with shotguns, like, there's one! You know, or something like that.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, whenever there are songs that talk about, like, this area, I'm like, who are you? What have you done here? Like...
I know. Well, when I found that Eddie Vedder song, I was so excited to listen to it. Then I realized it was like, oh, there's no words. Well, that probably describes Tuolumne well. That's a good way to say it.
There's nothing to say.
Yeah, you have a nice, pretty guitar riff, but there's nothing to say about it. That's about the perfect definition of Tuolumne. Looks nice. You don't want to hear anything about it though.
It's a nice drive through. Like, should we pull over? No, just keep driving. It looks nice. That's all.
It's like should we roll the windows? Nope. Roll them up.
Oh my gosh. I've been places like that before. We're like doing road trips with families. It's like driving through Texas. It's like, should we stop here? No.
Texas is, you think you should, but you don't.
Throw some tape over the Bernie sticker.
Right? Yeah, it's like, don't let them know we're from California.
But they already know. You don't have to say anything.
Yeah,
They know one state up. They know. For a while, I was in a long distance relationship with a girl in Oregon. And there's one time where she was at work, so I was just walking around town. This is in Grants Pass. She was at work, so I'm just walking around town, killing time waiting for her to get off. And you could see, you could like just look at this guy, like the only thing this guy watches is Fox News. Just walks by with this little dog, just shooting me just the dirtiest stare. I'm like, what? I'm like, oh, I'm wearing a tie-dye Led Zeppelin shirt and I have long hair. Okay, he figured it out.
And you're going for your Robert Plant look at this point in life too.
I'm just walking, and the guy just, as I'm walking, he's literally turning his head, just giving me this death stare, just wishing like he's trying to spread his commie ideals.
Well, it's like I was in the airport in Arizona because I have family out there, so it's like I fly in and out of there a lot. And I haven't gotten to security yet. My grandmother looks at this group of kids and she's like, they're going to be on your flight. I was like, why do you say that? She's like, they're wearing hoodies, shorts, and flip-flops. That's California attire. And I was like, is it? I have no idea. Like, I've never heard this before.
Yeah,
and sure enough, they were on my flight.
I don't know. It's weird how that is. It's like they know, but like we don't know. That's the weird thing. Is lots of times like I feel like if somebody shows up from Washington, unless it says it on their license plate, I don't spot that right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
I can spot certain areas. Like usually it's the South and then like New England, but that's because I have friends from both those regions, and so there's just certain mannerisms that I'm like, and I haven't been to the Northeast, but I've been across the South, and it's like I know those mannerisms without them talking. But also most of the people from the South are very quick to wear their college team, and that's usually a big indication.
That's probably true.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Yeah, like mass, like huge group of people wearing Longhorn stuff. Oh yeah, they're from Texas.
Yeah. Well, that generally is mostly a giveaway too, unless you get one of those kids that just likes to be cool and wear some team that's like way far across the land.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. I'm a big fan of Yale. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Good for you.
Yale, I feel like, are you kind of like, I don't know, if it's a big team across the land, it's just one of those things like, don't you at least want an underdog? Doesn't Yale seem a little too, like, unless you're from New York, why do you want the Yankees to win? Unless you're from New York. I mean, they just, I'm not even a baseball fan.
It's like, didn't you see that Brad Pitt movie? You need to root for these underdog guys.
Yeah, whenever I see anybody wearing Yankees and they're not from New York, I'm like, are you just trying to like either A, make people hate you or look cool? Like, I'm not sure what you're going for, but it's not, neither are working.
Yeah.
That's like when you watch early 90s movies and they happen to be in New York area and they're all wearing like Raider gear. That always feels so odd. It's like you're in New York and you got a Raiders jersey on and a hat. Like,
having been across the nation, that's not unusual, actually.
Well, I mean, it's not unusual. I mean, like, in California, you see every team still. I mean, sometimes it makes it laugh. You see somebody like a Patriots or something like that. It's like, come on, you gotta.
Well, they just won, so it's like, won, but yeah.
Well, whenever I see somebody with Patriots, those might be people. It's like you only jump on the winning team, right?
Bandwagons, yeah.
Yeah, you bandwagon supporter. I'm like not even a sports person, but I feel like, you know what? If there's anybody that needs support, when I think of a team that if I was going to wear one jersey, I'd wear an A's one because, God damn it, those guys need some support.
We appreciate it. We need help.
That's what I look at. I look at those poor bastard teams, as the ones that, and that's why I thought the Brad Pitt movie. I was like, dude, it's about the A's. I'm like, if you're gonna be about any baseball team, awesome. Choose one that like nobody fucking knows unless you live right next to this area.
I like how you're not saying Moneyball. It's just the Brad Pitt movie.
I know. I was like,
well, we all know what the most important.
It's the Brad Pitt story. It's the Brad Pitt
story. The Brad Pitt story about how he saved the A's, but then later screwed them up again because they suck right now.
Hill.
It's funny because like Brad Pitt will get me to do things that I would not normally do. Like I watch that movie, it's like I'm not really into baseball, but Brad Pitt's in a movie about baseball? Hell yeah, I'm down. It was even like when I was watching that. It was like that war movie that they had, the War Machine one. Like when I was watching that movie, Brad Pitt was convincing me, like, you know what? Maybe we should go back to war with Iraq. I think Brad Pitt can get us out of this. He's got a plan.
It's like, yes, do it. I have faith in you. Like, let's make a movie. Yeah, we can do a movie of Brad Pitt doing that. It'll come true.
Just call Brad Pitt. Like, Pitt, what are you doing? Dealing with the divorce. Well, we got to get to Iraq. Wait, what?
Yeah, you know what to do. You have a plan. I saw it.
That was based on a real guy. No, fuck that. It doesn't have your charisma. We got to get back over there now. He doesn't have your abs.
Yeah.
He doesn't have your abs.
I mean, he probably has that goofy run because I don't know where else you would find a run like that, but.
Yeah, I was laughing when I was seeing that run. Did you see that War Machine movie, Bethany?
What movie is that? Like,
it's a Netflix movie about the last general that was leading in Iraq. I have like 20 minutes left of it, but yeah, it was good what I saw.
I haven't watched it yet. I use my friend's Netflix, so it's like, and I try not to screw up his algorithm because he's like, no, you don't have to make a separate little profile for you, and I'm like, yeah, but I feel really weird if like you're watching anime and I'm in here watching like, I don't know, like stuff like that and just incorporating it.
It's one of those things where it's like when you watch like Netflix and YouTube are kind of the same thing in the aspect of like, okay, oh look, they got Samurai Champloo on here. I'll watch that because I like that show a lot. And then it'll say like, you want to watch Yu Nagawababa or whatever? It's just like some like anime with schoolgirls. Like, no, it's an anime, but it's something different. Like,
yeah.
It says, this is because you watched Kill Bill. And then it's just like not even like Quentin Tarantino stuff. It's more of just like random, like not even classy, like old school, like kung fu movies. Just like whatever just throw this on there. We got a space for it, you know?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm trying to remember when I was in college, I watched some movie because it was like, oh, you watched this comedy. You'd like this in the poster. Like, looks like a comedy. It's listed under comedy. Has like reviews, but I had my interest, so I watched it, and it was like a flat out like drama, almost like tragedy.
Funny how that happens.
I was like, Netflix, your algorithm is screwed up. Please fix it.
Or how YouTube will do that thing where just like, I don't know, I heard about bronies. I'm like, what's and I just looked into it on YouTube. Like, what's bronies? Just this video explaining it. For the next 6 months, like, here's the new My Little Ponies. I just want to know what the fucking bronies were. You don't gotta keep sending me this shit, you know?
Right? It's like I watched one video.
I'm afraid to look at any like, you know, like videos documenting World War II because I feel like I'm gonna get a bunch of pro-Hitler shit.
All right. Yeah. It's like, or if you even just click on the link or something, because my friends will send me videos and be like, here, watch this. And I'll click and I'll be like, oh, I'll watch that later or something. Or like, oh, I don't really want to watch that. And then my algorithm on YouTube is just like, oh, well, you clicked on this link, so we think you'd like this. Or like, my favorite is when it's like, oh, you're subscribed to all of these. Well, these people are subscribed to these types of channels, so you might like those channels. And I'm like, no, what somebody else watches doesn't mean I'm going to like. Like, I don't care if Game Grumps are watching somebody else's stuff. Like, I want to watch Game Grumps, not the other people.
Yeah, it's kind of weird how that is. It's almost like it's too sensitive. It's like they need to pull that back just a bit. Like, you should have to watch a certain amount of videos in, like, a genre before it starts, like, randomly starting to recommend stuff.
Yeah. Like, I get what's his name? Gavin McInnes was on Joe Rogan's podcast a little bit ago. And it was an interesting conversation. I sure as shit don't like Gavin McInnes at all, but it was an interesting conversation. So since I watched that and rewatched it like once or twice, parts of it, now it's just sending me all this alt-right shit. I'm like, no, stop. Fuck. Okay.
Yeah, right. It's like Facebook's the same way. Oh, my favorite is Amazon, where it's like you looked at one item once and then it shows up on like your social media. It's like, oh, do you want to buy this or something like that? You get ads for it. Or I used my dad's Amazon account once, and it was, I bought an album, and now all of his recommended stuff is other things like that album.
What's this, all this K-pop shit?
Yes, exactly that. He's like, I don't want K-pop stuff on here. Stop making it show up. I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, I bought
Hanlo?
Why does it say I'm into the Chinese Justin Bieber now?
It's like I found out on Twitter, if you go like 3 layers deep in your security, they try to figure out your gender and age and everything based off of your tweets and who you interact with. And so it was like, we think you're female based off of the way you tweet and who you follow. And we think you're somewhere between the ages of 18 and 54. I was like,
that's close.
I was like, well, you're not wrong. I am in that age range.
It's like 3 different generations crammed together in like one block that they have.
Yeah, it's like, are there...
Might be a millennial, might be a Gen Xer, might be a baby boomer, might be sleeper generation. We don't know.
Yeah.
Might be Gen Z. We're just not sure. And I'm like, okay.
The advertisement seems like something's going to stick. Just keep going.
Yeah, right. They have a full breakdown, and I'm sitting there staring, and I'm like, okay, they're very sensitive to trying to do their ad marketing on here. It's like, we think you're female. We think you're this. And I was like, I follow a lot of dudes who like the same things I do. I follow a lot of sports teams because I'm a sports person. Like, I don't... Okay, whatever you say.
Yeah, you pick it. There, go with that. Sure, that works.
Yeah, sure. Whatever you want to advertise to me, I'm going to ignore it anyways because I have ad block, but...
Most of the point I was trying to... Oh, go ahead, dude.
Oh, I was going to say, even with ad block, they still always find their ways to get in.
Yeah, the sponsored tweets.
Yeah, the sponsored
They'll just get in. They'll just get in there like. They'll just get in there any way they can, just because like I even like I'm trying to almost avoid social media lately, and I'm just like, oh, new Morty came out, and then like you can't watch it on Adult Swim because they make a bunch of greedy bastards, which Rick would not stand for that. I know that for a fact. But so I start just like, okay, I'll renegade, and then every single thing I click on, it's just like, here's the video. They're like, oh, well, here's our streaming service. Like, oh, go fuck yourself, So they find a way. They find a way.
They do find a way.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Bethany, what type of other movies do you like? I know you like Dark City, but
I'm a big fan of movies in general. Let's see, my movie collection's split between 2 over here. I'm a big fan of psychological. I love psychological horror. I love Hitchcock. Mm-hmm. I'm a big fan I don't know, like my 3 favorite movies are Dark City, Casablanca, and Moulin Rouge. So I feel like that sums up my movie taste in 3 movies. And I don't think that kind of also sums up, I don't necessarily like happy ending movies, which is weird because I actually really like happy things. But
did you see the trailer? Because you said psychological thriller, and I was thinking Black Swan, and that made me think, did you see the trailer to Mother, the new Darren Aronofsky movie?
Not yet. I've seen a lot of people talk about it, but sometimes when it comes to like his movies and movies with people like Jennifer Lawrence in it, I'll wait for the hype to die down before I watch the trailer, just because people like BuzzFeed 3 articles about it, and then everybody's tweeting about it and posting about it, and I'm like, I'm just gonna wait till it cools off so I can have a kind of a clear head going into it. And so I'll probably watch it after this, actually, just because it's started to lose steam a little bit and people aren't aggressive about it. But what does it look cool?
Yeah, it looks really sweet.
It looks creepy. It looks very it looks like a very well, first off, Harvey Bardem with Jennifer Lawrence. Okay, that's already stretching, and I'm already expecting a twist out of that. Like, how'd that happen?
I heard about that part.
but it looks like, it definitely looks psychological, and it looks like some old-timey macabre stuff. Like, I'm guessing it's gonna be more of one of those movies, more of a long drawn, I'm guessing kind of like Black Swan, long drawn out drama with moments that make you go, oh fuck, that's unsettling, or oh, that's weird, you know. So best way I can think to describe it. And like, you know, the weird stuff like almost pulling from Evil Dead for a second. You like see a light bulb filling up with blood and then popping, you know, like that kind of thing. So
I'm here for that. Yeah, I'm not always, he's hit or miss for me for some of his movies. I appreciate like his imagery. And so it sounds like, from what I've heard about that movie, it sounds like it's really imagery driven, and I really want to.
The trailer definitely, it's definitely also pulling, like, it's like someone like plucking a violin like very creepily, just you know, like it's no actual song, just like that. Okay, don't know.
I'm a big fan of like Guillermo del Toro. I mean, back there, Guillermo del Toro.
That's amazing.
Like I have my Hitchcock and Del Toro posters on my wall behind me. I love James Wan. He did Saw and The Conjuring.
And Fast and Furious.
I've not seen any of the Fast and Furious movies.
What? They're like the best.
That's what I always hear. Like, I love fast cars. I love like action cars, and I love that cast, but I've never seen it.
Check those out. You got at least see the first one, yeah.
The first one's way more toned down than all the other ones, trust me. But what was I gonna say? Have either of you seen the trailer for The Shape of Water by Guillermo del Toro?
Yes. I saw it. I was like refreshing my feed waiting for it to drop, because it dropped at one of the conventions and people were actually really good about not leaking it. And then it was before the new Planet of the Apes movie, which I didn't see. So I was like waiting for it to drop online, and he finally tweeted it. I was like, yes, and watched it right away.
It almost looks kind of like, for a second, like, am I watching BioShock, the movie here, when I saw the trailer for a second?
Yeah, I can feel that.
Has that 60s kind of, that 60s vibe to it, with all the weird kind of macabre imagery, and then the steampunk looking technology, and then you got this fish thing, and this, have you seen the trailer for it, Spencer?
I can't remember if I did see it in theaters or not.
It's a lady who's deaf who works at this facility, and there's this creature, the Black Lagoon type thing, that she forms a bond with. And I don't know if it's romantic or what, but but the movie's rated R. At some point, they show what looks like a little bit of creepy imagery, so I can only imagine, like, what the fuck is this? I don't know, but I want to see it.
Yeah, I think the R rating got somebody updated it. It was rated R for like graphic nudity.
Oh.
At one point or something like that is what we saw. But yeah, people keep saying it looks, the creature's like Creature from the Black Lagoon, or like Abe Sapien, which the same actor who plays Abe Sapien. But
that's sweet.
Yeah, it looks really neat because I love his period drama stuff, because like Pan's Labyrinth and Devil's Backbone, he does really good stuff like that, but it has that steampunk edge to it in this.
How was Crimson Peak? I wanted to see that, but didn't get around to it.
I love it. Crimson Peak is beautiful. It's not a horror in the sense that the trailers tried to make it look like. It is a gothic romance. And Guillermo actually has tweeted about the fact that like the way it was teased and everything, like it was a horror, was completely not what it's supposed to be. Like there are ghosts and stuff, and there's a horror aspect to it, but it is a gothic romance, and I personally love it. It's stunning. The art direction is beautiful, but it's Del Toro, so
Yeah, it's to be kind of expected almost.
yeah. And Tom Hiddleston, I love Tom Hiddleston. He's great in it.
My only thing with a lot of horror movies is just kind of like I kind of love creepy, like lingering horror. I don't like how so many movies now are jump scares. So that's kind of the thing that tears me away from seeing a lot of horror films in theaters, just because jump scares annoy me. That's the only thing that I'm kind of like I'm iffy about seeing it, because I the way the trailer shot, it looks like it might be a jump scare machine. But I'm reading the book right now, and I'm kind of curious to know what parts they're going to adapt. You know.
Yeah, it's funny. So I have a fear of clowns because of the original miniseries.
Oh, Tim Curry.
Tim Curry.
Oh my gosh. And it's funny because this new one, the trailers, they haven't freaked me out yet. And like, I hate clowns. And every time I see this Pennywise, I'm like, he doesn't really freak me out, because it's like they tried to make him look intentionally scary. Mm-hmm. Like he looks too intentionally scary to actually scare me. Whereas the original Pennywise, he looks like a clown who's also creepy. But I definitely want to see it.
He would look normal, then suddenly he would get sharp teeth when he's mad.
Yeah, and this one, it's like he has that bulbous head right now, and he has like the evil smile the entire time, and it's like, okay, he just always looks evil right now. So I don't know if that's different in the movie, if they're going to change that, or if they are doing a bigger focus on their individual fears or what, but...
Because he could take the form of other things. I mean, I haven't seen the original miniseries in a long time. Just kind of remembering certain things about the book, though, because I'm reading the book, and then I also kind of spoiled myself by looking into like other things that happen later down the line. Yeah. And it's just like he takes the form of other things. So I'm kind of curious if the movie's going to focus on that, you know, because the spider thing. Because I remember that was the weird thing. Like, okay, I can get behind Killer Clown. I can get behind creature that eats children that lives in the sewer. But clown that turns into spider, and then in the book, it's like, oh, he's a supernatural entity that takes the form of whatever. Yeah. So with modern effects, I think you can do a little bit more with that, you know?
Yeah, so that's where I'm really intrigued to see what they do with it. And, I mean, Cary Fukunaga had a hand in part of the script, I believe. And so I'm intrigued. He did True Detective.
Oh, okay.
So I'm intrigued to see like what happens there with it. I know they went through a lot of casting changes, but I don't know. Right now it doesn't scare me, but I'm still excited because I like Stephen King books and I like seeing adaptations. Like right now, we've been watching Mr. Mercedes, which is creepy.
What's a
TV show?
One?
Yeah, it's a TV show adaptation of the book Mr. Mercedes, where we've only seen one episode so far, and it's basically like this detective's trying to find this guy who plowed down an entire group of people with his car.
Oh.
And then what happens is the same guy starts like hacking into the detective's stuff and basically taunting him, saying like, you can't find me and whatnot. And it's been years later since the accident. And it's really creepy. So it's because it's very modern age based, and so the villain in it, you meet him already, and he like works in like a Best Buy type thing, and he's a really creepy kind of like the 4chan type dude is what they've called him online. It's like it's like if he was the alt-right kind of thing.
I'm seeing that in a lot of movies lately, kind of like, don't get me wrong, I don't like the alt-right, but I'm seeing, because even like in Planet of the Apes, the bad guy is almost kind of this alt-right vibe to him.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of the new ones of that either. I'm so bad with movies right now.
Oh, you're busy. You're actually making movies happen. So
yeah, that's true. But yeah, that is a huge theme right now, which understandably so, considering the last couple weeks, especially.
Well, especially since the whole. I didn't really. I think I maybe saw a trailer on Mr. Mercedes, but hearing it's about a guy that plowed through the cars, and then just last week, just like, oh Jesus, this is even more topical. Yeah.
Yeah, like the creators of the show were even saying that they were worried for the first episode airing because it mimicked so many things that had happened in the last year. Because like in Europe, they've had that happen, and it's happened multiple times since then. We've had it happen here. And so they were worried, but they didn't want to take it out because it is a graphic depiction of it. Like I didn't watch part of it because I can get squeamish sometimes.
Is this like an FX show or HBO show or?
It is on. It's an AT&T original series, so it's like on Audience. On
The hell is AT&T original series?
Everybody has
right?
their
I
own
don't
now.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Amazon, AT&T.
So like it's on Audience, but I don't know. I think that might be a DirecTV channel, so it might be limited to DirecTV. Not sure entirely because it's not a channel I usually watch. And we saw the trailer watching something else. We're like, oh, we should record this. And
well, at least they did.
Yeah, like it's Brendan Gleeson is the detective.
Oh, that's awesome.
Before he died, apparently Anton Yelchin was going to play the tech bad guy.
Huh.
But they had to recast, obviously.
Well, that's still pretty cool, but I'm glad they didn't censor it, because that's something that always has bothered me, is like when a big event happens, it's like disastrous, they like censor certain movies, or they make them not come out for a certain time, or they make them cut scenes. Because to me, that always just feels like, dude, what are you, a fucking pussy? You can't handle a movie? It's not a, you know what I mean? It's not, real life and a movie is completely different, you know? It's not,
Our PR person, everybody.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know, that's just something that's always bothered me. It's like, oh, somebody's feelings might get hurt. Fuck those people. If their feelings get hurt, let's just take them out right now, because obviously if they can't handle a movie, what else can they not handle?
Well, and it's like, my whole thing is like, yeah, there are certain things I don't like to watch in movies. I'll either skip by that scene or I just don't watch that movie.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I mean. It's like you have the choice.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. It's not like you're set up like a Clockwork Orange to like strapped up with your eyes wide open to watch everything you dislike.
Yeah. And basically that's, I always tell people, I'm like, don't watch it. Like, I understand there are certain things where it's like, hey, you know, that's pretty freaking racist to depict something like that. But at the same time, it's like, these things happen in real life. If you don't like it, don't watch it. Like, there's a line, but for everybody, that line is different. And it's like, you can't cater to that closest line that, well, we don't want them to ever hear the word like hell or something like that. Because there are families that are like that. And it's like, well, no, we're not going to censor movies.
HE double hockey sticks in this household. Yeah. No, it's also like there comes a point of like, when is it insensitive and when are you just kind of ignoring what actually happened in the world? You know what I mean? It's like, because I mean, I didn't see it, but I overheard like a little bit of controversy over the movie. I mean, Spencer saw it. The movie Bodyguard's Hitman, or Hitman's Bodyguard. And apparently there's a part where someone plows through a crowd in a car with that. And I heard like a debate about that, and somebody was like saying, yeah, well, it's actually happening. That's what happens. So it's be like suddenly like there's a movie about a bomb threat. It's just like that happens. That's not, you know.
Well, it's like, I don't see anybody, like the Die Hard movies have hostage situations all the time, or like Live Free or Die Hard is probably closer to accuracy now than people ever thought it would be. It was so far-fetched when it came out. If it came out today, people would be like, oh my God, this could happen. They shouldn't have made this movie. And it's like, well, get over it.
Well, and here's the thing. How many people have plowed through people in a car in a video game? I mean, like...
You're right. Grand Theft Auto.
How many times in war has somebody plowed through a bunch of people? It's like, it's so weird how sometimes like one incident happens and it's like, have you never heard of anybody ever doing this before? Like, where are you been sheltered your whole life? Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like, that sounds like somebody like, oh my God, somebody was shot today? Somebody was shot today? Like, they pulled a gun out and shot, like, you never heard. It's like, dude, it happens every day. Every, like, major city. Yeah, somebody gets shot day in, day out. It's like, you know, I mean, there's certain things it's like, I mean, yeah, it sucks when that happens, but it's not like, you know what I mean? It's like they take it out like it's like the biggest deal in the world. Like, and it's like, yeah, the Hitman's Bodyguard, until you pointed that out, I never even noticed that when I saw it.
Yeah,
I would never have even thought about that. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I don't even know what scene it is now that I think about it. It just kind of went by. It's like,
I overheard that in a conversation somewhere, and there's a little bit of debate about it. I'm like, really? Okay.
Yeah,
I think it's the scene with the boat where there's the car and the boat happening at the same time, like racing around.
Yeah, maybe that is part. I just remember like trying to think of like, okay, there's a part where like Samuel Jackson crashes the car and Ryan Reynolds goes out the window after having a big speech about how important the seatbelt is. And then there's like, yeah. Like, yeah, I can't think of parts like, I guess there is a part where they run into a couple people.
I mean, it's an action movie. It probably like happens.
It's an action movie, and it was a good action movie, so it's like, why complain? I don't know. That's something that just bothers me is, you live in America and you're grateful to have all this stuff, but people just want to nitpick everything when they should just be grateful that they're just given entertainment. That
reminds me of a conversation I was having with my friend this morning. She sent me it was one of those BuzzFeed lists that were like however many times that Brits and Americans went at it about like really stupid things. So it was like, how dare you spell color with a U, or how dare you not have a U in color? It's like people get worked up about that kind of stuff. So it's like, of course, people get worked up about other, like if they get worked up about how we have different forms of English, they're going to get upset about everything.
Well, it's kind of weird because we all have our own little like triggers for it, and you'll see somebody complaining about it, but then you'll see one or two things will be like, yeah, but Sonic's arms are blue in Sonic Boom. It just seems kind of weird. I'm on record of saying that. Now, I wasn't fuming. I wasn't signing a petition, but I was like, that's kind of weird, isn't it? Like, well, I'm a talking hedgehog, so I don't know. So it's kind of weird, the thing that, like, look at those guys over there, but this right here.
Well, yeah, it's different to say something's weird. Like that's okay. If you kind of go, well, it's still, I mean, like, here's like Sonic Boom, it's still totally fine. It's just kind of odd that he's got blue arms. Like that's just saying it's weird. But if you're going like, fuck Sonic Boom, I am not watching it because he has blue arms. Hashtag anti-blue arms. Like, once you become that person.
Blue gate.
And those people exist. Where like you people were getting like petitions over that kind of crap. It's like, okay, you need to take a chill pill. You need to take a step back in your life.
when like Force Awakens was coming out and people saw that there was like Finn was going to be a predominant character, like white genocide. I'm like, because there's a black dude with a lightsaber. We've seen this shit before,
right?
Yeah. What about Mace Windu?
Exactly.
Black people can't be stormtroopers, and I'm like, yes, they can. They okay.
Years later, yeah.
Well,
it's like.
See, when people say that Nazis don't progress, obviously in Star Wars they did. They got to a point where they started hiring black guys. So
and then Phasma was a girl, so it's like.
Well, that's what I remember was kind of funny. Is there was like it was literally like they were all like this anti-Nazi, and then I remember a commercial comes on. There's a bunch of stormtroopers walking down. I'm like, oh, ABC, geez, bad taste.
Well, I kind of like as you watch the original trilogy and you look long enough. Maybe as a kid you want to piece it together. But you look long enough. Okay, Nazis in space. I get it. Where the new one is full of like. No, they are not. They are not leaving it to the imagination. You got a dude in front of a red flag, screaming and yelling behind the podium. Like, okay, you're just you're nailing it home this time. So now, whenever I see a little kid in a stormtrooper outfit, I'm like, dude, wrong time.
Yeah, I know. It's like
it's kind of funny.
Sitting there like,
because it's like stormtroopers is like the allowed Nazi. It's okay. You know what I mean? If you go out dressed up like you're fucking in the Third Reich and it's fucking 1945 Germany, you were like ostracized. But if you go walking around with a stormtrooper outfit, nobody seems to care.
You probably get a couple of high fives by the end of the day.
Yeah, right.
And they are literally for the same thing. Like at the end of the day, they are both super fascist nations, but for some reason one is cool and one is not. I don't understand that.
But it's like, and then Hydra is like a teetering line for some people, where some people are like, Hydra's okay, and then other people are like, they're literally Nazis. That's how they evolved in the movies and comics, is from Nazis.
Well, they'll be like, well, Hydra, you see, they had their own agenda, and they segmented away from Nazism, so they're not that bad. They got some goodies. They are fucking Nazis, dude.
They're literally Nazis. Like, my favorite is like, what did you think the first Captain America movie was establishing for us? It's like, you can go read the comics, but if you want an easier time, like, you can watch the movies again. And they kind of blatantly are like, hey, Hydra are Nazis, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, always has been. Who is Captain America always fought? You know what I mean?
Nazis.
It's just funny because, if you see somebody wearing like a Hydra shirt, it's like, you might as well just get a swastika shirt. I don't know what, what I mean? You're already almost there. Just go for it. Be yourself. I'm not saying anything against it. I'm saying be yourself. Just go the distance.
They would try to be a little safe with it because, like, Red Skull was like, Hitler's an idiot because he can't, like, see, he doesn't even like Nazis, but he's working for him. But,
Right? It's like, okay.
He'd be like, Hitler is an idiot. We should get rid of everybody but the red people. Just all the Native Americans start cheering.
Oh my God. Spencer.
I will say that
they're like, finally, justice. We've been waiting for this day.
There is like on a lighter note, I'm kind of surprised. I'm a little surprised they didn't bring Hugo Weaving back by this point. You think he was gonna be back, like I'm back from space or whatever, which was probably originally their plan, but he doesn't like doing sci-fi movies anymore, apparently. So.
Yeah, that's what I think. It's like, come on, dude. It's like you're an amazing actor. It's like, because that thing is like, we need. Even though I'll say this, at this point, you could pretty much bring the Red Skull back and just have somebody else play it. I do not think anyone would really notice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and just make him another Avengers bad guy like he should be.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think Hugo rubbed people the wrong way after he did the first Captain America movie, because I think he like slammed like San Diego Comic-Con and fandom culture and stuff. And I was like, I know you've been in a lot of like fandom movies, but dude.
Did he say it at the Comic-Con? Like, I don't see why you fucks like this, like in front of like in Hall H, in front of a bunch of people.
I don't remember. I think he might have like after the fact or something like that is what it was. I can't remember exactly, but I remember seeing a quote and being like, you're not going to be in another Marvel movie. So,
you know, but I can understand this. You look at somebody at that age, and if like, okay, let's just say they've just been doing movies their whole life. That's the culture they've been surrounded by. And then all of a sudden they're thrown into this fucking Comic-Con thing, and they see a bunch of, in their mind, they're just looking around like a bunch of overgrown children dressed up on Halloween, though it's not Halloween. Like, you could just see for him, it's like, what the fuck is this?
And he's like this well-trained Shakespearean actor.
Yeah,
and he comes in, like, he's just like, okay, I did the voice of the dog and Babe, so my kids can watch a movie. And then Matrix. That was weird, but it had something going on. I kind of like that one. Lord of the Rings. That's a classic, so why not? Then ever since that, everyone's just been calling me to put a go in their shit. And now I'm voicing something called a Megatron. I don't know what the fuck that is.
Well, yeah, because I
can't even hear my own voice because auto-tuned.
Yeah, right.
I'm done with this shit. These guys want me to wear a red face makeup the whole time? That takes 5 hours in this chair. Fuck that.
You know what I love about movies like Transformers and even the Alvin and the Chipmunks movies is they get some of these big name actors to do the voices, and then they auto-tune or like put so many different audio filters on them that you can't even tell it's those people. And I'm like, then why did you pay that much money for them? Like,
movie poster, that's all it's for.
Yeah, right.
Because people said that was Hugo Weaving, and when I saw the movie, I was like, I don't sound like Hugo Weaving. And sure enough, oh fuck, it was Hugo Weaving. Apparently they're originally gonna get Liam Neeson to do the voice of Optimus, which I can imagine, but they went the original guy, so.
Which is even better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's few times I will say this that there's a better choice than Liam Neeson.
Yeah, they just like, you know, like how do you like the Energon, it was taken.
Can you imagine that filter over his voice? Oh my gosh.
Well,
that's a new
thing,
project.
It's like I don't know. It is kind of weird, but I mean, I know what they do it for. They do it just to sell the movie. It has nothing to do with like really. At the end of the day, they're like, if we could just say Hugo Weaving's a bad guy, we don't care who the hell plays him. It doesn't make a difference.
Well, here's another. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say because like a bunch of the movies right now in America are co-produced with China, and so you'll have like a random like Chinese actor in all of these, which is great, like representation. I'm here for it, but you always know like if it's been co-produced by China because there's a random Chinese actor who's pushed heavier in the Chinese marketing than in the American. And Valerian had that because Chris Wu is in that even, and he has like his own poster in China for that movie and everything. And like, oh look, Chris is in this. This is great. In America, he's not even in the trailers, and like his name's small on the posters, but he's not even in the trailers. And they're like, yeah, but look.
In Iron Man 3, they had they had a side character. There's sometimes whole plot points you don't even see in the American release. They're just for the Chinese release. And in Iron Man 3, there's a doctor. We actually see him for a second in Iron Man. The guy going out and remove the arc out of his chest. Mm-hmm. That guy had a whole subplot in the Chinese cut, and he was just like this doctor that was calling in like, yo, Tony, you ready to get that thing removed? Not yet. Okay, let me know when you can. Everything cuts in once in a while. Gee, I wonder when Tony's going to get that chest thing removed. He probably still needs it. Okay.
Oh,
I guess he was some well-respected Chinese actor they threw to sell in China. And apparently all of his scenes are all in Chinese. So it's like one of those things like pandering hard because China only lets in X amount of American movies. Yeah. So that's why everyone's fighting for the spot to get, okay, we need to make sure this one gets in.
Yeah. And now it's like, they're starting to co-produce with us, so we're getting a bunch of Chinese movies. Like we had The Great Wall and whatnot, where it was like mostly Chinese cast, and then Matt Damon because he's huge in China apparently. And so it was like, here we're going to appeal to Americans while also like having a Chinese release with a white actor they really like. So it works out for both of us. I was like, whatever works for you, China, I guess. I don't understand your...
And China apparently didn't even care for that movie, I heard. I heard that movie didn't do so good in China.
That movie's great, too. I don't know
No,
why
I'm not saying...
like
I didn't even see the movie, but I'm just saying I heard that like it didn't do good in China. That's what I'm saying.
I heard mixed things about how it did in China. I think it was super expensive. Like, I think it was the most expensive Chinese movie ever made, so it was going to be difficult for it to be successful, which is why they tried to push it in America, too, and then Americans didn't react super well to it. I like the movie a lot. Luhan's in that, actually.
Yes.
Yeah, he is. I like that movie. Have you seen it?
Spencer saw it.
Yeah, I was supposed to say, Spencer said he liked it, right?
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I was really impressed. Plus, I also liked how it was kind of based off Max Brooks' writings.
Yeah, like, I really enjoyed it, personally.
And I wasn't trying to attack the movie. I was just saying I overheard it didn't do that good over there.
No, yeah.
Ryan's always got this negative, like, bull that he gets to hear from. Like, he's like, I'll never hear anything negative about a certain movie. And then Ryan's like, well, there is these people out there on the internet saying this. I'm like, where do you find these guys?
They're out there, dude. It's just,
You're not on
they're just, like,
Tumblr,
out
are
there.
you?
Like, Ryan's just walking down the
Tumblr.
street and this, like, black cloud comes next to him and just says, hey, you know what? Fuck the Great Wall. The movie or the actual wall? Both.
I just surround myself by negative people. I just,
No wonder you're trying to spend less
And
time
then he
on
gets
social
on his
media.
Google bicycle and rides off.
Fuck Google. Fuck Google.
You see, there's the negative.
Is negative, yeah.
Well, we're just being negative against negative people now. That's just two negatives make it right. Come on.
Did Sand Deliverer teach us nothing?
But well, it's like one of those ones. Like I always call that's the French way of making movies because it seemed like about in like '93 or something, the French realized, you know how we can make like way more money off our movies is we'll make them in English. Maybe we'll get like one or two American or British actors, and then the rest of the movie can be all 100% French, but nobody else is gonna know the difference. And they like I almost want to say like one of the first ones they did that with was Leon the Professional, and then from that point on, it's like all those movies, all the Luc Besson movies, all like. Any of those guys in that whole team, because they just seem to rotate like order of like who's doing what on each film. It's like, you always kind of forget about it. It's like Transporter, super French movie. Fifth Element, super French movie. The Family. It's like, other than Robert De Niro and Michelle Pfeiffer, everybody in that movie is super French.
Yeah,
and it's
that's exactly it.
It's a smart way. I like that practice because it's like, dude, that's an easy way. You can sell it to pretty much anybody because it's in English now. And yeah, you can still have all the Frenchness. And it works out, it's a win-win for the people that don't like to read.
Yeah.
There's that really random Japanese Western that was more or less a remake of Yojimbo and Fistful of Dollars. And
yeah.
Quentin
Django,
Tarantino just had a random
Django
scene in there.
It's like Django something or another.
Trying to remember.
I have it on DVD.
I think it's like on Netflix or something like that too. And it's like
very weird movie. You think it'd be like Japanese Western. That's right up my wheelhouse. But watching it, I'm just like, it's not god awful or anything, but it's awkward. It's awkward. There's gonna be moments where it suddenly looks like it's on like a high school set.
Well, that's not when Quentin Tarantino's in it. The rest of it's like they had a normal movie, and then Tarantino said, "Hey, you know what? I want to have this campfire scene where I just get to talk and do my thing."
Yeah.
And the only place they could find is they rented this school during the summertime that nobody was there, so they just set up this campfire set on stage and shot it. It's just so odd because it's like does not fit with the rest of the film.
Tarantino's like, you got me for 15 minutes. Fuck, let's make this quick.
Go.
Throw a wig on him. He's old now.
But yeah. But other than that, though, it actually is kind of a cool movie. It's like an anime version of like Yojimbo, but like live action.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Yeah, I know what movie you're talking about too because I've seen it. And like, have you ever like roamed through Walmart and looked at like their not the new releases and not like the Hollywood movies, but just their random row of like B movies and foreign movies and stuff, or like
the random section? It makes no sense, and for a fact that somebody back east or whatever like literally designed this as like how every Walmart should go. But you go like this row of like whatever films does not make sense. I don't get it. It's like there's no genres, there's no categories. It's just like whatever. They should literally have a sign that says the whatever section.
Let's slap Barbie right next to this like Grindhouse Hostel ripoff.
You can put some WWE movies, and then we'll have some anime in here.
Oh my god, yeah. So our Walmart, Spencer, like they had a blaxploitation like section for a while.
Oh, I was so excited when they had that section there. I bought like a couple of movies.
I was sitting there. I was like, I feel like this is definitely not regional that they decide what goes in Walmart, because that would not be in our area otherwise.
Just has Black Lives Matter over it, and then like all the people in Walmart outside are just like protesting. I could just see that totally happening in Tuolumne.
Well, yeah, it was the Tupac section because the Tupac movie just came out, so
yeah,
you could get the little coupon on some of the movies to get like $2 off or whatever.
And then it's like you go over and they have this small anime section, and it's always hit or miss with whether it's good anime or not. Because there's certain times where it's like, oh sweet, like they have the entirety of Cowboy Bebop, and then you go in another time and you're like, it's kind of like what you were saying, Ryan, on YouTube, where it's like these girls in the school outfits on you. Like, I didn't ask for this.
Yeah, those animes.
If I see people in schoolyard outfits and there's magic or some bullshit on me, like skip, I don't know. No, done.
It's
I don't know. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, it's weird though, like almost how Walmart though is like, for being such a big chain store, I'm always kind of amazed over the years at how many of those rarity gems you go in there and you're like, what the fuck? This movie's only $5? Like one of those ones that you're like, dude, that would have cost like $25 anywhere else. And
I think that was Snowpiercer for me.
Yeah, like, you know, movies like that, you're like, oh, whoa, that's cool.
What movie?
Yeah. Snowpiercer.
Oh, I love that movie.
I love that movie. And like every time I'd gone into Walmart, they used to have like Chris Evans from Snowpiercer on an ad in the DVD section at Walmart, and they never carried the movie. They got rid of the ad, and then they started carrying the movie, and it was like $5. And I was like,
I'm like, can I carry that home? I want Chris Evans in my room. Can I have that?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I used to have a Captain America poster in here somewhere. I have the Funko Pop of Captain America. That's close enough.
That's pretty awesome. It's kind of weird how like Funko Pops, I never really planned on getting one, but it'll be one of those things like, oh, that's Spike from Cowboy Bebop. Okay. Oh, that's Rick from Rick and Morty. Oh, that's a cool Pac-Man ghost. Ooh, Swamp Thing. Like, I don't plan on it, but they just kind of slowly invade, you know?
I have 100 of them.
Oh my gosh.
Now I have like 15, which is 15 more than I ever thought I'd have. Like, oh, this is an alien queen. You can't even tell it's a Funko Pop, you know?
Yeah. Well, I had one for like 2 years or something like that, and that was it. Because I'd found it was when the first Avengers came out, and I got Iron Man at Safeway of all places. And I was like, oh, it's Iron Man. I love him. I'm going to get him. I got him, and he was cheap. And then I think it was 2 years later, there was a thing where it's like, oh, here, if you buy this cereal and just punch in this code online, you get a free Funko Pop. And it was for Age of Ultron, I think. And I was like, you know what? Sure, I'll do that. And then I had 4. And then somewhere last year at this time, I think I had like 40 or something like that. And now
just kind of like just happened like a snowball effect.
Yeah, like I have one on my desk right next to me. I have one next to my record player. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 shelves filled with them. I have a shelf dedicated to Spider-Man Funko Pops. It's kind of ridiculous.
Kind of like the one, I remember a very hot selling one, the comic book store I go to was like Spider-Man with the Captain America shield. Like that was gone.
I have that one, yeah. He came in a pack with Hawkeye, and Hawkeye's my favorite.
So that's my favorite character too.
Yeah, so it was like perfect. So I have both of them. And
all the people who just say, if they're going to kill off anybody the next one, it's got to be Hawkeye, are people who've never read the comics, because Hawkeye, if they read Matt Friction's comics, Hawkeye's one of the best guys.
If they read any of them, you can read any Hawkeye. It doesn't matter what year it is.
Well, even Matt Fraction's books, I love that book. Like, I think that could turn people into a Hawkeye fan if they just read that book.
Oh, yeah. Fraction did such a good job with that character, because I don't mind the Ultimate Clint Barton series, but like Earth 616, which is what Fraction steered off of for his, is just so perfect. He's just, I have to roll out of bed and do what now? Like, hi.
He kind of wakes up with a hangover. He doesn't really want to do it. And I kind of like how Kate Bishop is the one who's like, dude, you got to get your ass in gear. You're 17. Yeah, I'm 17. I got my shit more together than you do. So let's get this going.
You got to feed the dog, okay? At least feed the dog. And Clint's like, fine.
Lucky the dog with 3 legs and 1 eye.
Well, I feel like it's like the Clint thing is like, hey, I've been doing this for 70 years. You just started. Of course you're going to be all spunky about it. Wait till you've just done everything.
And I love that part of his personality is still in the movies, too, because they did the Ultimate Clint for the movies. And it's like he's still that old guy who's like, why am I doing this again? Why? Or he's like, Why?
Well, even that line in Avengers 2, like, we're on a floating island, I have a bow and arrow, there's robots. This doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. I was like, that's Clint in a nutshell.
I
love him.
I know. I got all kinds of like weird. I got a couple action figures. I got Hawkeye poster. All kinds of random stuff.
Nice.
Got the Hawkeye like van that Dunnigan gave me.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, that sounds weird when I say that. It's like this old like micro machine thing. It was Hawkeye. Mike Spencer will like that.
That's cool.
There was did you read any? It was the next guy after Fraction. There was a guy who came in, and it was kind of like in the future. And I think it was called Hawkeyes was the name of the volume, and it was basically after more or less, not romantically or anything, but Kate and Clint go separate ways, and we get a glimpse in the future. And it's kind of like leading into like Old Man Logan-esque type stuff.
Oh, I haven't read that yet.
And it's kind of going down this dark path of what's going to happen at the last minute. Spoilers. Last minute, Clint, she actually does because it's going back to like present time, future time, and Kate's a badass, Clint's a wash up, and it's this really touching story. And then the last minute, she's like, you know what, I'll give in. She calls him like, you want to get some coffee and talk, and you see that dark future kind of like disappear.
Oh,
so yeah,
I feel like Clint and Kate are such good characters. I love both of them a lot. And whenever people talk about the movies and they're like, we should get rid of Clint, I'm like, no.
Yeah, it's like, whenever I hear that, it's like, fuck that. You can get rid of any of those characters, but don't get rid of Hawkeye.
Yeah. I remember when I saw the first Thor movie with my parents, and Clint had his cameo in that. And I was so excited because I was hitting my dad on the leg because I was like, it's Hawkeye. And I remember as we were leaving, there's these two guys. One of them literally had Hawkeye on his shirt. Was like, who is the dude with the bow and arrow?
Oh!
I was like, how do you literally have him on your shirt?
It's like, how did you buy this shirt? That's all I have to ask. Because, you know, when I buy a shirt, I don't just randomly go in the store blind like, that one. I like the purple color. You know what I mean? Like, when you buy a shirt, you go, oh, dude, there's fucking Hawkeye on it. Fucking A. Dude, you don't find a Hawkeye shirt anywhere.
Yeah, is this the Mario shirt? Is this the Mario symbol? That's a fucking swastika.
That's how dumb some people are. Like, by that standard, they probably will.
It's hilarious, but I hate how accurate that is. Well, it's like when people go and they'll buy Wu-Tang Clan shirts or something like that.
And they don't own an album by Wu-Tang or even a greatest hits at all.
Yeah, like they just see the W and they're like, oh, that's a cool shirt. And I'm like, it's okay. Whatever floats your boat.
Because that's the thing, though, is if I see a shirt and I go, that's kind of a cool shirt, but I can't tell what the logo is, I'm like, I'm not buying it because God knows what that is. I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah, right?
I'm by no means like a Wu-Tang expert, but like, see someone in the Wu-Tang Clan shirt, like, ain't nothing to fuck with. What? Okay. Moving on.
It's just like, okay, forget I said anything.
But that's the reason why I don't, like what Spencer says, I don't really get a shirt unless I know what's on it, just because it's like, I fear that. Like,
yeah, right.
If I suddenly have, like, even like, I just made that reference to Wu-Tang. I don't know Wu-Tang enough. I got, like, their greatest hits in, like, one random album. And I don't feel like I would know them well enough to wear that shirt. Or I know Stones enough to wear a Stones shirt. So it's one of those things. Like someone say Exile on Main Street, like best album, something like that.
It's like I had a shirt when I was younger that was an AFI shirt. Mm-hmm. And I got it because I thought it looked cool. And getting the shirt literally made me listen to the band because I was like, I should know whose like music I'm wearing on my shirt before I wear this around. And I ended up liking their stuff. And it was fine, but it was like, that's the one time I purchased a shirt where I had no idea what it was referenced to, just because I was like, this is a cool shirt. I'll look up the band after I buy it, which is bad practice in retrospect, but
good thing you like them.
Yeah, right. It's like, that's a good thing they fit into that era of my life.
Yeah, exactly. So it kind of like all works out in the long run anyways, but awesome, Bethany. Well, it was good having you on the show, but we probably should wrap this bad boy up.
I was supposed to say, the three of us could probably talk forever.
Yeah, which just means we should just do a fun episode again later down the line.
Yeah,
I
I'd
feel
be
like
glad to
that's-
join you guys again.
Yeah.
We'd love to have you come back on. Which there's something I wanted to mention, but you also have a really good, because time. You have a really good Instagram account, Vintage Lichen, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so it's my art Instagram. I do a lot of pen and ink work. I do some digital, but I do a lot of like gothic and religious symbolism over there. Like to do a lot of birds and skulls.
I like a lot
Sometimes.
of the skull work and a lot of like the cow skull stuff you do.
Thank you. I'm working on a new one right now, so
Awesome.
yeah.
Sweet. And where could they find that at again?
So it's Instagram. It's vintage lichen. So like lycanthropy. So vintage or vintagely can, as some people say, because they don't realize what lichen is.
Yeah.
But it's just on Instagram. It's also on Twitter. Also on Redbubble.
Oh, there we go. Perfect. Makes it easy to find. Well, other than that, Bethany, do you have any other places you want to direct anybody to if they want to see your work, talk to you, maybe even they got a project?
That's actually through the Twitter for Vintage Lichen or Vintage Lichen at Gmail. I use that kind of as a business thing. So that covers all bases for me. I don't give out my personal email until later.
Well,
so I get to know them a little bit better.
that. You just want to have the easy, normal way, and then once
and if people want to film in the county, then it's film@gotuolumne.com.
There we go. Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, just in case anybody needs that, at least they got the information there. Well, other than that, you can check out our stuff at oldmanorange.com for more podcasts, cartoons, music, and more. Till then, I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
I'm Ryan Dunnigan.
I'm Bethany Wilkinson.
Our special guest. Till then, we'll see you later.
Later, folks.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Old Man Orange podcast. Check out our website at oldmanorange.com for even more podcasts, cartoons, videos, music, and more. Send us an email at oldmanorangepodcast@yahoo.com. Be sure to subscribe, share, rate, and review us on iTunes, Podomatic, or any of the other fine sites we might be located on. And if you want to help out even more, click on the Amazon or GameStop links on our webpage before you make any purchases there. Won't cost you a penny, but it sends us a little something our way. Thanks for listening, and tune in next week to Old Man Orange.